All right. Look, thank y'all for coming in and spending some of your valuable time with me to discuss fire drill and safety. We've had a couple of fires in the facility. We've had a few close calls, and I'm still walking around finding some things that should probably be corrected on the floors. So I'll address those with the directors of each office, but as we get started with this, I just wanted to discuss that high-rise buildings make firefighting and rescue operations more complicated because of the many forces that are involved. So the key factor, the key takeaways for this is to know the safety plan and practice is key. So that's why we drill. Every drill that we have for any type of an emergency is important to participate in and make sure it's mandatory. And it is mandatory for all of our staff, from our leaders to everyone else to participate, our guests, our visitors, our contractors. They should know our emergency plan and have access to the protocols and procedures for those emergency plans. So I just want to highlight, right here it says, the fire in the London fire, which was multiple floors, I think it was 24 floors in that, spread throughout that facility within 15 minutes. I want you to take into consideration that we've got about 15 floors here, 13 from the mezzanine up, and anywhere that you're in this facility that, I can't promise you that, but I know this facility is not designed and built the same way that the one in London was, but it is imperative to understand just how fast fire moves and what little time we have to respond when the alarm goes off. We don't have time to understand what's going on. We don't have time to get a report from someone to know whether it's a real emergency. We need to respond to the fact that that alarm's gone off and we need to go ahead and start closing doors. People need to start moving. It applies to everybody, and they need to start lining up and going down the stairwells in a safe and efficient manner. So when do you sound the alarm? So if you're discovering a fire, whether it's in a toaster oven or a wastebasket or something like that, if it's a small fire, I think communicating to staff on the floor, having someone call 911, pulling the handle of the nearest fire alarm, getting that alarm sounded so we can start evacuating the facility. And if you're trained, using that fire extinguisher and practicing that sweep method for putting out the fire. Now, if it's a basket-sized fire, the fire extinguisher is probably good to use it on. If you've opened up the door or you see smoke rolling out of an electrical closet or something like that, do not even attempt it. Just keep the door closed and evacuate the building. So understanding, what you can tackle with an extinguisher. Your lunch on fire in a toaster oven might be a good idea to hit it with a fire extinguisher. But if you've got a spreading fire through the facility, understand that that's probably something for the fire department to take care of. So what do we do when the fire alarm sounds? First of all, do not panic. When you see smoke or you encounter smoke and heat and whatnot, that's when people tend to lock up. Fear is a formidable foe, and you're going to see all sorts of reactions to it. Some people will act in disbelief. They're not going to want to evacuate. Some people are going to need to be encouraged to evacuate. Some people are going to freeze in the stairwells. We need to be able to figure out how we're going to manage that. We need to think about how we're going to manage that ahead of time. And then, at some point, like we talked the other day with our floor wardens and our training with them, is knowing when you need to make sure that you're protecting yourself and you're delivering the correct communication to the first responders that are coming in. So, reporting to the building warden that someone is standing in the stairwell on the 5th floor and they're frozen in fear. Instead of staying there trying to convince them, make sure that we're moving things through. So, the other big thing is make sure that no one's using the elevator. A fire in a facility, one of the first things they're going to do is they're probably going to shut the power off to the facility to prevent that from being the major issue. So if you're trapped in an elevator, Now that's a technical rescue that a fire department and first responders now have to contend with inside of a facility. So one of the biggest things is to make sure all of our staff coming and going are off of the elevators. Do not stop to use the restroom. Fire alarm went off the other day. We had a fire in the facility. It was reported that somebody went in. They had to use the bathroom. They had to go back to their desk and get their code, or they had to understand wherever you're at, whatever the situation may be, you need to leave the building. You know, like the first graphic gave us 15 minutes for 24 floors in that London high-rise to catch on fire. And when that triangle is fulfilled and we've got heat, we've got fuel, and the oxygen is there, a fire will flash over in a room, and it is a sight to see when that happens. And then most people will have trouble because the first thing they're going to impact is the smoke. And you can imagine, just look around of all the different things, the carpet and the sheetrock and all that, all the toxic smoke and fumes that are going to be put out into the air. So most people, it's not like, you know, you're going to be able to hit the floor and crawl. Visibility is going to be cut, so there's a lot of things that could go wrong. So when the fire alarm goes off, it is essential that we focus on getting into the stairwells and exiting the building. So another big thing is don't use your cell phone. Focus on saving your cell phones. Focus on helping people in the building get out. You know, you need that. That should be your focus. Not calling your family. Not, you know, don't take your attention away from what's going on right here, right now, to be diverted to that. You need to have one, in that type of an emergency, 100% of your attention needs to be on what is occurring at that time. All right, so when the fire alarm sounds, what do you do? First of all, remain calm. Follow the instructions. We drill fire evacuations twice a year. So what ends up happening is we're going to react the way we train. And that's not a bad thing. It's just making sure that everybody's taking our training seriously, especially when it comes to evacuation drills. So if we've got staff during drills that are sitting at their desk and they're in meetings and they don't want to stop what they're doing, they need to stop what they're doing. If we have ongoing meetings, we need to get our guests and all of our attendees together, and we need to participate in the drill when it's happening. So I just highlight that. I've gotten some reports from past drills over the years where, you know, people continue to work or meetings continued on while the drill was underway, and we just want to make sure that that's not a thing then. Because if you do that during the drill, what's going to happen with the real thing? You're not going to take it serious. Those strobes are going to go off and you're going to sit around and go, is this real? And I've heard that being said when the strobes go off as well. That's not the right response. So, if possible, close all the doors. You want to break off that oxygen movement. You want to shut down, you know, that flame and take away as much fuel from it as possible. So as you're going through, if you see an open door, close the door. If you're leaving an office, close the door. So if you are at your desk and then you are able to grab them, grab your wallets, your keys, your purses. I think the fire with the microwave, what was that, 2014? Yeah, something like that, 2013. You were in the street for 3 or 4 hours. And then you couldn't come back. And when you came back in the building, you couldn't use the elevators, you had to use the stairs. So as you prepare. If you use the stairs to exit the building, the proper way to use the stairs is single file line, keep to the right. And the reason we ask you to keep to the right is the fact that you may be having first responders coming up the stairs, and you want to give them a path to move forward and prevent any type of blocks. Of course, my battery's going to die in the middle of this. Quick. All right, technical difficulties. Nobody didn't expect this. All right. Tap All right, so each floor has an emergency team to help and to organize an evacuation. So if you are not on that volunteer team, you are absolutely welcome to join, and I would encourage you to consider volunteering. All drills and emergencies are mandatory, so don't make any mistakes in the fact that you are exempt from participating in especially the emergencies, but the drills as well. The building, and I wanted to highlight this so everyone understands this, when things happen, whether it's a drill or an emergency, our building wardens and our floor wardens have absolute authority over all personnel. So regardless of your position, they have authority. So when they say it's time to leave the building, that's exactly what needs to occur. And then as we exit the facility, we need to proceed directly to the assembly area. And if your exit is blocked by fire or smoke, if at all possible, see if you can identify and clearly marked alternative exit in the most orderly fashion and leave the building. So there's a north stairwell and a south stairwell. So you have two options within the facility from any of the floors. All right, so as we get out to the rally area, you want to report to your floor warden in the designated assembly area immediately. Do not stop to socialize. There's been some complaints. People get out there and right there at the entrance of that assembly area, they're stopping and they're talking and they're holding things up. So you're aware, mezzanine all the way to the back of the parking lot, first floor, right but next to them, so forth. We could have potentially 1,000 people download from this facility. So if we are fully at full capacity and everyone's here and something happens, we're going to push and fill that parking lot slam full. That means lower the floor, the furthest back in the parking lot, assemble around your floor warden so roll can be taken. Communicate to your floor warden if you have any personnel that are still in the stairwells, personnel that are still on the floor, and you know, if someone's not here that day, when they take a roll, just let them know. So the assembly area, so everyone is clear, James Madison building, and then where that little circle is in red, that is our assembly area right across catty corner from the building, over towards the VDOT building. All right, so the plan. So the James Madison Building Emergency Plan is in place. It gives the roles and responsibilities for each member of the team, and it also gives guidance on what needs to happen for any particular emergency. So fire emergencies listed in there. I encourage everybody to go to and locate that. It's on the OpenGS internet, and please take time to review that, share that with our new employees, new contractors, anybody that's going to spend time in the building, whether that's Deloitte contractors or vendors that may be coming to the facility, making sure they're aware of the procedures for the facility for safety.
John, I just had a thought. You know that checklist for new hires?
Yep.
Is that on that checklist to let people know where to find this information?
Probably not.
Okay.
So the plan provides guidance for emergency team members, employees, contractors, and visitors. That concludes my lunch and learn for this. Is there any questions or points of discussion someone else would like to present?